My name's Mandy Witherby from Mandy's Papercraft Creations, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Sydney, Australia. Welcome, welcome. Let me just adjust this camera a little bit. There we go. All right, so I have got another new project for you today using some brand new products from the 2023 to 2024 annual catalogue from Stampin' Up. So if you have not visited my channel before, I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. I love to share creativity with you and inspire you to be creative as well. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, feel free to subscribe if you like what you see, and while you're there, click on the little bell icon and you can select how you would like to be notified when I upload new videos. So every week I go live here on YouTube on Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And then on Monday afternoons, I go live over on Facebook at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's where you can find me. If you're not following me over on Facebook, feel free to follow me over there as well. You'll also find me on Instagram and Pinterest. And yes, I think that's the 4 platforms. It's always hard to remember them all. So let me know if you are here. Chat with me live. It's always fun to have you chatting along with me. Now, so that I can see all of those comments, I'm going to bring this live stream up on my other devices. Now, I believe that if you would like to chat live, for me to be able to see your comments and to see your name, apparently you need to be logged into your Google account. That's a requirement from YouTube, apparently. So I hear. So I haven't actually tested that one myself, but I believe that that is the case. So make sure that you are logged into your Google account or your YouTube account, so that you can I can see all of your comments. Now I'm just bringing this up here on my iPad. Okay, and also over on my computer, I'll bring that up there as well. Now hopefully the internet will play nice today. Hubby's working from home today, so sometimes it can drain the internet a little bit. Whoop, turn that off. There we go. Alrighty, so let me just adjust that camera a little bit again. It looks different on the playback to how I'm viewing it on the camera. So yeah, I often have to do a few little tweaks to get it just looking right and not having the camera too high. Alrighty. So today I have a cute little project for you. As I mentioned, we're going to be playing with the little monkey bundle. So if you haven't seen this one, it's super adorable. So you've got the 3 little monkeys in here. You've got some leaves and bananas. There's a peeled banana and there's an unopened banana. We've got a love heart, you've got a tree branch, and you've got some cute little sentiments as well in there. You've even got an additional little smiley face because it also comes with a punch. So this is a Stampin' Punch bundle. So you can purchase the 2 products individually, or you can purchase them together as a bundle and save yourself 10%. And it's just so adorable. So I'm going to show you how to use both of those today. You'll find it in the annual catalogue. And when I tip the camera down onto the desk, I'll show you exactly which page it's on. I've already got it marked here. Now, if you don't already have a Stampin' Up demonstrator and you are here in Australia and you would like to get one of these catalogues, then please let me know and I would love to send one out to you. You will actually find a link in the description of this video that has all of my links there. You'll see it's Mandy Witherby Linktree or Linktree Mandy Witherby. I can't remember which way it is. But yeah, if you click on that, it shows you all of my different links, and then you can navigate to where you would like to be. So if you don't already have a Stampin' Up demonstrator that you're working with, then you can request a catalogue on one of those links. So click on that and you'll be able to go there. Beautiful, beautiful catalogue. So many beautiful products in there, as well as all of our new colors. So today we're going to be using some of our new products that are in some of the new colors. And yeah, it's going to be a really cute project. So let me just remind you as well that if you would like to stay up to date with all the latest Stampin' Up! News, with my upcoming classes, and I give creative inspiration and tips and tricks and tutorials and all different sorts of things, then subscribe to my newsletter. You'll find the link as well in that link tree in the description of the video. So, well, if you're on YouTube, it'll be down below. If you're watching on Facebook later, when I upload it, it'll be up above the video. But you'll find it there. So be sure to subscribe to my newsletter so that you can, stay up to date with all of those things. All right, now I also do have a blog, and I'll talk to you about that when I tip the camera down, because I do put creative inspiration up there each week, and all of the details and the measurements and the instructions for my projects that I create live go over there onto my blog. So if you miss any of the measurements today, don't worry about that. Often I don't give them out on my live. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but they're always over on my blog, so you can find them over there. I'll give you that blog link when I tip the camera down. So all good. Now, because there are so many beautiful, beautiful products in this catalog, as you can see, this is still my wish list. I've got lots on my wish list. Then you might like to consider joining my team so that you can get free products when you join. You'll get $66 worth of free products when you join, and then you'll get an ongoing 20% discount on all of your products, and you'll be probably wanting that because there'll be lots in here that you'll be wanting. So if you have a large order, a long wish list, and your order is up around the $169 mark, then definitely consider purchasing the starter kit. You only pay $169, but you get to choose $235 worth of product to put into that starter kit, and you get free shipping on that as well. So that's more additional value. Plus you would be then joining our beautiful crafting community, the Papercraft Gems. So we would love to welcome you into our Papercraft Gems group. And we do lots of fun things together as a team, and we have a private Facebook group where we share our creativity together, and lots of fun, and I keep my team up to date with what's happening, and we get lots of insights and heads up on upcoming promotions and all sorts of things like that. So it's another great reason to join, and we get new catalogs early, and we get to order new products early too, so which is super awesome. So if you'd like more information about that, please feel free to get in contact with me, or you can click on my join link as well, which again you will find in that link tree in the description of the video. So all of my links are there, you'll find them there. All right, so I'm going to tip the camera down onto the desktop now so that we can get started. Oh, before I do, let me say a couple of hellos here. We've got Megan here. Hi Megan, how are you? Great to have you with us today. Yes, it is such a great deal for the newbies, and you love your discount too. Yes, it's great to have the discount, isn't it? It means that we can purchase more things. Hey Brenton, how are you? Great to have you with us today as well. Oh, there you go. Megan is saying hello to you as well, Brenton. Great to have you both with me. Thank you for joining me live today. All right, well, I'm going to tip the camera down to the desktop and we can get started, and I'll show you these beautiful products and where you can find them. So bear with me. I'm going to cover the camera up while I do the transition because it's a little bit bumpy, and it takes me a moment just to get everything set up, and I don't want to make you all dizzy. So here we go. I'll cover up this camera. There we go. And we will, which way am I doing it? Yeah, I'll tip that down and then we will do a flippity flip. All right, here we go. So I've got to do this one first. Oh, that's a bit squeaky. Actually, I'm going to do this one as well. I'm going to bring that right out today. There we go. Do them all up nice and tight so that they stay put. There we go, and take that down. All right, you all still there? Don't go anywhere. Just tightening everything up nice and tightly. And then we will flip and we'll zoom. Whoops, I want to zoom that quite that close. There we go. Alrighty. So I might just bring that out a little bit more. There we go. Good. Okay, so I'll just move my keyboard out of the way. Just checking all my clamps are done up nice and tight. Oops, sorry, bumping the camera there. All right, and we'll keep an eye on that camera and hope that it stays put and that it doesn't drop. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. Alrighty, so that looks like it's fairly straight, which is cool. So this is the beautiful annual catalogue. Now, when you get the annual catalogue, of course, it doesn't come with the binding. I take it to my local stationery store and have that bound, and then I add all of my sticky tabs, which helps me to find things in the catalogue, and then these ones are my wish lists. So my catalogue is extra colourful with all the different tabs. So I did do a video a few weeks ago to show you how I do all of my tabs. So if you would like to know how I do that, then feel free to go go back and have a look at my videos. I did a little catalogue walkthrough as well, and at the same time showed, you know, the different sections and how I tab them. So if you're interested in that, feel free to go back and look at my videos. All right, so the little monkey bundle is here. It's on page 52, and you can see it here. Super, super adorable. Now, these images are all shown here at 100%, so that is the size of the stamps. And then at the bottom here, you can see a little image here of the punch and the punched images that come out of that punch. It tells you the 10% there if you purchase the stamp set and the punch together as a bundle, and it gives you a code there. Okay, so the stamp set itself has an individual code if you just want the stamp set. If you just want the punch, it has its own individual code as well, which you can find. It tells you here over on page 147. But if you want them both together, then you use this one here, the little monkey bundle code. Okay, and it shows you here that the price is reduced. Okay, so that's where you will find it. If we jump over to page 147, where we can see it there as well, I'll show you where you find that in the punch section. And at the beginning of the punch section is the punch bundles, and here it is here. Okay, so you can see a better image of the punch. It's got the individual punch code there if you just want the punch, and then it's got the bundle code below that as well. Okay, and you might recognize this image here. This is the one I shared on my Facebook page a couple of days ago. So if you follow my Facebook page, and if you're not already following my Facebook page, please feel free to follow my page, because I do post on there every day. Although I did miss yesterday, actually. I realized late last night I'd missed posting yesterday. I had such a busy day. I was out and about a bit yesterday, so it got to last night and I'm like, oh, I didn't post today. Most days there is a post. So day before yesterday, I posted this photo here of this cute card. It's super, super adorable. So there we go. So that's a little bit about the catalogue. All right. Oh, good. You're still here, Megan. Awesome. Now I need to adjust my lights, don't I? Because that's one thing I did forget. I jumped straight into chatting and I forgot to put the lights down on the desk. So it will help if we have a bit of light so everyone can see what we're doing. There we go. That's a bit better. Awesome. Now I mentioned my blog. So this is my blog here, mandyspapercraftcreations.blogspot.com. So you can go there. There's lots of creative inspiration there. There's also the link to my newsletter there as well, but it is in the description of this video also. There's also other stuff there too, so go there and have a look. Up the top you'll see my events section, so you can click on that to see what's coming up with my classes, etc. And then I also have a website as well, so you can go there also, and you can see my full calendar there on the website as well. I'm just going to move this up a little bit. There we go. Now, if you're shopping with me this month, this is my May 2023 host code. So be sure to use my host code, and with orders over $75, you will receive a free gift from me to thank you for shopping with me. And I do have an additional gift this month as well, which is a card kit, which I didn't pull out today, but it's a card kit using the beautiful new in colors and the, oh, I forget which dies they are. The new daisy ones. I can't think of the name of them. Oh my goodness, I've gone blank. But anyway, yes, it's a card kit which you will get for any order, any amount of order as well. You get that as an additional gift for me. So there you go. All right, let me just straighten this up. That's better. That was crooked and that was annoying me. Okay, so let me just check to see these comments that I've missed here before we jump on in. Where are we up to? Megan said, oh, she's had her thumb in the brace. Oh, I didn't realize that, Megan. Oh, actually, you might have told me that. I think I might have forgotten about that. So you've got your thumb out of the brace and it's time to get scrapbooking. Oh, yay, that's awesome. Fantastic. Megan says this set is perfect for her cousin's new baby boy. Aw, so lovely. Born just a couple of days ago. Oh, that would be perfect, Megan. You definitely should create with this one for the new baby. That's so cute. Yeah. You love the taco set as well that was in the catalog? Yes, me too. It's lots of fun. I've created with that one yeah, before. It's really fun. Awesome. Yeah. Megan said she always tries to get the bundle if she can, and Brenton agrees. It's always, yeah, he always does the same thing. Yes, because I have made this mistake myself before, that you purchase the stamp set and then later down the track you realize that you want or need the stamp, the coordinating dies, or in this case the punch, and then you go ahead and order them separately and then you pay full price for them all. So it's much better to get the bundle and save yourself yeah, save yourself 10%. Megan says she needs to use her punches and dies way more than she does. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Oh, Megan says, how can she use punches and dies more in scrapbooking? Oh my goodness, Megan. You can use them for embellishing, for putting around, oh, so many different ways. Oh my goodness. For embellishing your page, putting them around your photos, on your layout. Yeah, if you go to Pinterest and actually do a search in Pinterest, that is where I find a lot of creative inspiration. So many great ideas there. So use that. Yeah, definitely use that. You use labels in journaling spots. Yeah, well, you can still use these around your labels and things as well. So with your dies and your punches. So yeah, definitely there's so much you can do with them in your, a good thing to do is to, especially if you're using your dies as well, if you die cut a few pieces, say you've got some floral pieces or something like that, or some leafy pieces or something like that, die cut them, even if you just die cut them in white and have them as a template, and then lay them on your layout and just play around with them and see where you would like to have them. You might like to tuck them in under the edge of your photos, or under the edge of your labels, or your journaling blocks and things like that, and just have a little play around with them. You'll find lots of uses. Yeah, you just got to have a little play, that's all. All right, I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit more. Oh, well, that was a bit too much. There we go. Oh, no, we want to go in just a little bit more. It looks so different on my camera, on my phone camera, to what you're seeing on what I'm seeing on the screen. So yeah, so I'm just trying to get it all lined up for you so that it looks how it should. All right, let's get started. So this is the beautiful bundle. We've talked and talked and talked about that. So the monkey that punches out from this punch is actually this little guy here. Okay, so this is the little monkey that punches out. These two don't punch out with the punch. You just have to fussy cut those. And one of those we will be fussy cutting today. But we are using this little one as well that we are going to punch. Then you've got the added little piece here, which is the face. Then you've got the banana, and these two little circular pieces here, they're actually the inside parts of the ears. So let me show you what that looks like. I put together some to show you. Hang on a sec, I've got to get them out of my little packet over here. There's one. And let me grab the other one. They're a little bit stuck in the packet. Here we go. All right, and this is the other one. So let me just move this. Actually, let's go the other side because we'll put them down on the white side. Okay, so this little monkey here, so this is punched out of cardstock using the punch here. And I know the punch it's very hard to show the punch on camera because it reflects everything. So I apologize for that. There's not much I can do about that. But it punches this little one here. So what I've done with this one is I've punched this little monkey into including the little ear parts. Oh, I might have done those separately actually. I can't remember now. But I've punched it twice. So I did it once in the pecan pie, and then once in the very vanilla. And with the very vanilla piece, this is the additional little face piece here. I've stamped this little face that's on the stamp set here. So you got the little eyes, the nose, and the mouth. Okay, and that's what it looks like just punched like that. Okay, so if you like to do paper piecing with your punches, then that's what you get with that one. Now for this one, what I did is I stamped the image twice. So once on the pecan pie and once on the very vanilla. And it's this little one here. And then I punched them out individually. And then I just layered that very vanilla piece, or those very vanilla pieces, including the ears, onto the crumb cake, and then that's what you get there. So you can see they look quite different depending on if you're just doing paper piecing or if you're incorporating the stamps as well. So there you go. So that's the two different looks you can get. Now my computer is playing up and I'm losing the feed over there on the computer, but I can still see it on my iPad, so I think we are all good. All right. So that's what they look like. So there's our little samples of that. And today we are going to create, and we are bringing in a couple of other products as well. And we're doing a little fun fold today. So we are doing this one here. This is the card that we are creating today. Super adorable. And it's a gatefold card. So the two panels fold into the center, and then you've got this panel on the front. So a little bit fun, doing a fun fold. Fun folds are always very popular. People love doing fun folds, just for a little bit more interest on your projects. And you'll notice that I picked out my old grid paper. This was the one that was available last year when last year's In Colors came out. And this is actually Parakeet Party, but I thought it went very well with the lemon lime twist that we're using today. So yeah, so there we go. So that's the card that we are creating. Alrighty. Now I've already got, this stamp set is a photopolymer stamp set. I forgot to mention that. And I've already put the stamps that we are using today onto my blocks ready to go. Okay, so we'll pop these over to the side till we are ready for those. Now, a couple of other products that we are using today. We're using the beautiful Ribbon Duo Combo Pack. Now this one comes from one of the suites, and in here you've got these two beautiful ribbons. We're just going to be using the Lemon Lime Twist today, but you've got the beautiful Petal Pink ribbon and the Lemon Lime Twist ribbon, and these are such gorgeous ribbons. I used these just recently on some other projects. You might have seen my videos for those, but they're really, really pretty ribbons. So we're going to be using some of that today, just in the Lemon Lime Twist, which is the greeny yellowy color. We're also going to be using the double oval punch. So we're having a punchy day today. We're using the double oval punch for our sentiment. And we're using the deckled rectangle dies for our white layer. Okay. So we're using I think it was the third largest one of those. And we're going to be using some rhinestone basic jewels to embellish our project. Now we're also going to be using some inks and some Stampin Blends, and I'll talk to you about those as we use those. So we'll go through the colors as we're using them. I don't know what's going on over here with my computer. Let me just do a refresh over here. There we go. We are back. Okay, awesome. Okay, there we go. Oh, Inika's here. Hi, Inika, how are you? Great to have you here with us. All the way from the Netherlands. Oh, lovely to have you. We love having our friends from overseas joining us. Okay, Megan says she can't do gatefold. Oh, I'm going to show you how today, Megan. I will teach you how today. It's really easy. And Inika says it's actually quite simple. Yes, just practice with a piece of copy paper. We use A4 here in Australia, Inika. Yeah, so we have A4 cardstock. Oh, Megan says she always messes it up. No, I really like Inika's suggestion to use copy paper to practice. That's actually what we do here in my craft room when we're playing around with new designs or things like that. We use copy paper to have a practice first, and it's really, really helpful. So yeah, give that a go. I like that idea. All right, so we're going to bring in our little kit here with all of our pieces. Now, where did I just put my instructions for this card? Hang on a sec. Where did I put those? I've taken them out and I put them somewhere. Let me find those before we go too far. Oh, there they are. Okay. Because otherwise I'll be lost without my little instructions, because I've got all my colors written down and my pieces. Now I have got all the pieces here prepared. I'm going to put all of these measurements up onto my blog tomorrow. So you'll be able to get all of the measurements there. I won't go through all of them today because they'll be over on my blog, and to save you having to rush to write them down, etc. There was one thing I was going to say. What was that? It's gone out of my head. It's all right. It'll come back. But anyway, so we've got some white cardstock that we're working with. We've got some crumb cardstock for our sentiment. We're going to do some stamping of our monkeys and our bananas. I've gone ahead and done the die cutting of the rectangle piece here as well, with those deckled rectangle dies as well, just to save some time. I've got my layering piece there of pecan pie, and then we've got some, well, actually we're using granny apple green today. I think before I said lemon lime twist. It's granny apple green. It goes very well with the parakeet party paper, don't you think? They are different in color, but they go quite well together. And then I've cheated and I've done my insert already just to save time. Okay, so I've already done this part here just to save time. I mean, you can all create inserts. They're quite easy. And basically, we've just done a layer. I'll give you all the measurements on my blog, but these two layers here are the same as these layers on the front. So you just duplicate that basically. So I'll put those bits over to the side. And we're going to start with our stamping. So what we'll do, I'll pop the card over to the side out of the way so I don't get ink on it because I'm likely to do that. We're just using 2 ink pads today. We've got our Versamark ink and we've got our Early Espresso, okay? So I love the Early Espresso. It's a very deep brown, almost black, but not quite black, but a lovely brown color, which goes beautifully with, actually I'll leave that out because we're going to use that first. I'm going to pop these green parts to the side. This is my layer, so I'll pop that to the side, and we're going to be doing all of our stamping first. All right, so what I want to do is I want to stamp my monkeys first because we're going to be doing a fair bit of heavy colouring on the monkeys. So I'm going to stamp those first, and we'll do our bananas and our trees, and I'll just show you all the bits as we go. Alrighty, so we're using Early Espresso for all of our stamping today. We are going to be using some Versamark as well on the green, but on the white we're using our Early Espresso. Okay, we want 2 monkeys that we are going to die cut. Now one of these monkeys goes in the punch, so I want to work out where that one is going to go. Okay, so that monkey is going to go on that side so I can feed my piece of cardstock into my punch that way. Okay, I'm going to do the stamping first, and then we're going to create the base piece. Okay, so I've got half a piece of A4 cardstock. So if you want to do this with me, you can cut half a piece of A4 cardstock. Cut a piece of A4 cardstock in half across the width of it, so that you have a card base size, and then I will show you how to create the gatefold. We'll do that in a moment. All right, so starting with our monkey, so we'll ink this up. And now this is photopolymer. Usually when I use photopolymer, I have my Stampin' Pierce mat underneath to give me that little bit of cushioning. I did not pull that out today, so we're just gonna go for it. There we go. Okay, so that's stamped well. And then we're going to have our little hanging monkey, our little upside down monkey. We're going to stamp that on the right side of our piece here. So you can even use scrap cardstock for this, which is a great use for your scrap cardstock because you're only going to cut these out anyway. All right, there we go. So we'll give our little monkeys a clean on our Simply Chamois. Dry them off on our scrap paper. Now we are going to be using some Stampin' Blends today to do colouring. So whenever you're using Stampin' Blends, be sure to have some scrap paper or some grid paper underneath your work surface so that you don't end up with the ink bleeding through onto your desktop. Oh, I just lost all my comments when I did that. Hang on a sec. Let's go back up here, and why aren't I seeing? Okay, I'm not seeing chat on my iPad. I can still see the chat on my computer, but I keep losing all the visual of the video. That's okay. Oh, I love that you're all chatting. That's so awesome. Okay. Oh, you're more of a scrapbooker, Megan. Oh, there you go. Oh, you, okay, yep. So, well, I'm going to show you today how to do the gatefold card. So if you have you'll need your paper trimmer with your scoring blade, and you'll need half a sheet of A4 cardstock. So if you want to do it with me or practice, as Inika suggested, practice with a piece of A4 cardstock. Paper. Just cut it in half so that you're ready to go. Oh, Inika used to do scrapbooking, but now she totally is into her cards. Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, I love that you're all chatting with each other. That's so cool. All right, lots of chat going on. Fantastic. All right. Okay, so we've got our little monkeys. We're going to set those aside to dry, let that ink dry before we color them with our Stampin' Blends. And we want to do the same with the trees as well. So I've got the large tree branch, which is, I didn't show you on the stamp set which stamps we're using. We're using the tree branch, we're using the hanging upside down monkey, we're using this monkey that coordinates with the punch. Then we're going to use this banana and this leaf, and the sentiment I'm using is little monkey. Okay, and I think that's all of them that I'm using. Yes, that's it. Okay, all right, so next we're going to stamp the branch. So we're going to ink that up, and I've already die cut this piece with the deckled rectangle, the third largest deckled rectangle. All right, so we're going to stamp this branch going across here. Now I want to make sure that I've got room for my little monkey to stand up on that branch. So you can take your stamp and just measure where he will sort of stand, about there. And I'm going to bring my branch in from the side there, just stamping that off, just off the edge, so it looks like it is coming in from the side. Okay, then we're going to stamp another branch just above that one, but going up at a bit of an angle, like that. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same as the original. All right, okay, so we've got that one done. Actually, I'll put that over that side so that I know I need to clean that one. Then we're going to bring in this other leaf here. We're going to add some additional leaves. So we'll have this one coming down from here. We'll have this one coming up from here, and we'll put another one coming up here. We're going to have the monkey sitting there, so we just want to see them sort of coming out from behind the monkey. Okay, so that's that one. All right, and now we're going to stamp. We'll pop that aside to dry. We'll let the ink dry on that one before we color that. We'll do our little bananas. Now, I'm going to work out where my bananas are going to go. Okay, so they're going to go that way. I want to stamp them on this side. And make sure I've got them up the right way, the same way that the punch is. So one banana, two bananas. Oops. There we go. All right, and we'll let that dry. All right, so while we've got our ink out, we'll stamp our sentiment. I'm going to stamp my sentiment onto crumb cake cardstock. And again, you can use scrap for this. I'm going to just stamp it over. Whoops, helps if I do it up the right way. I'm going to stamp it over to the left side so that I can feed that into the punch. There we go. And it doesn't matter if that's wonky or anything because we're going to punch it out. So all good. Okay, so we'll close up our early espresso. We're finished with that color now. I'll give all of those stamps a clean, and then while that ink is still drying, we'll stamp our Versamark. And then we're going to come back in and we're going to color all of that. Oops, I'm bumping things over here. Okay, oh, I didn't give them a dry on the paper. That's right, because we're not reusing them, so. I always like to dry them off, especially if you're going to be reusing them, so that when they go back onto the stamp pad, you're not putting extra water or moisture into the stamp pad because it can dilute the ink, and you don't want to do that, especially when they're water-based inks. All right, so next we are going to be using our Versamark ink. Now we are using that leafy image again. Oh, I've actually got some fluff on that one. Hang on, let me give that another clean. I can see I've got some fluff in there. It's caught right in the center there of that leaf. There we go, got it. A little bit of stubborn fluff there. All right, so we're going to take our Versamark ink and we are going to stamp these leaves randomly on the Granny Apple Green. Okay, so we're going to have them stamped randomly all over. We're going to keep turning our block so that they're going in all different directions. We want some going off the sides as well. So just go all the way around. Keep turning that block so we get them going in all different directions. Okay, so there's our first piece, and then we're going to do the same with the other piece. So as I said, these measurements will be on my blog tomorrow for this. Now I do give my measurements in metric measurements because we work with A4 cardstock here in Australia. Now in some other countries, specifically America and perhaps Canada, they work in imperial measurements, so their card bases are actually a different size to ours. They work with letter cardstock, whereas we work with A4 cardstock. So when they create their card bases, they're actually a different size to ours. Theirs are shorter and wider, ours are taller and longer. So that I don't cause confusion, I don't give the measurements in imperial measurements most times, because we have different size card bases, so it doesn't always work. If you're using dies and things like that, they are going to be the same sizes, but if you're using actual cut cardstock measurements, then they can be different. Just add a little bit there. Okay, there we go. So we've got our 2 strips there. They're going to be for the front of our gatefold card. We'll give our stamp a clean. All right, so let's create our gatefold. So pop these 2 to the side to dry as well. All right, so if you take your half a piece of cardstock, we're going to score this. Now you might want to practice on some paper first. We're going to score from both ends. So this is half of an A4 sheet, so it's actually A5 size. We are going to score this in from each long end. Okay, so you've got the long end going across the top. We're going to score in 5.25 centimeters. So 5.25. So if you go to 5.2, so 5, and then 2 little lines, 1, 2, and then you want to go halfway between the 2 and the 3, which will give you the 2.5, the 0.25, okay? And then we're going to score with our scoring blade. So give a couple of good scores. Then we're going to take our cardstock and we're going to turn it around to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. So 5.2, so go 1, 2, and then halfway between the 2 and the 3, and score. Okay, so you should have a score line here and a score line here. And now if we flip that over so that we've got the mountain fold, the part that is sitting up, sticking up where we've scored on the inside, we're going to fold these in on those score lines. And if we've scored that correctly, let's hope that I have, they should meet in the middle, like so. Now, if this one doesn't meet exactly in the middle, don't be too worried, because you're going to be popping this panel over the top. Okay, so if they don't meet exactly in the middle, it's okay, don't panic. You just don't want them overlapping, but if there's a little tiny gap, that's okay, because you're putting this decorative panel on the front. All right. Okay, so then we're going to take our bone folder and we're going to burnish along those score lines or those fold lines to make that cardstock sit down. And there we've got our gatefold card. There you go. So when you measure this center panel here, that should be our usual 10.5 centimeters. okay, which is the normal card front size, is 10.5 centimeters. So basically you've just scored, yeah, those panels in half. It's so they're sitting halfway in the middle of there. All right, so how did you go, Megan? Did that help? Hopefully that helped you. Okay, let's see, any other comments? Oh, you're all chatting together. That's beautiful. Fantastic. Okay, okay, Inika says, as I refuse to do 1/4 centimeters, I'd cut my cardstock down to 20 centimeters and score at 5. You could do that too. Yeah, it would just be narrower, but that's okay. Or you could cut it at 5 point. You could cut it at, what is it normally, 29.7? No, 20. Was that 29.7, I think? Yeah, you could cut it at 29.8. So then you've got like an even, yeah, you don't have to do the, oh, you're going to try it later, Megan. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so then you don't have to do the 0.5s. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why our cardstock is the size that it is, because when you do it in half, you end up with that 0.5 if you do it exactly in half. Some people cut their card bases at 14.9, so then the other piece is 14.8. I cut mine exactly, so mine's always 14.85. Yeah, that's this way. So yeah, but people do it differently. Alrighty, so let's move on. Okay, so that's our card base. Now we can do these 2 panels here. These are the little panels for the front, and we've just got a little 2mm border around the edge. So we can actually adhere those now, and then we can go ahead and do our colored pieces and then embellish our card up. All right, so we'll just add some glue and we'll pop that down. Let's open up that other side. Pop that down on our front panel, and with the liquid glue, that gives us the chance to wriggle that around and get that lined up in the center with that even border around the edges. There we go. Okay, do the same with the other side. Now, the one that goes on the left-hand side, a lot of this does get covered up with our front panel that we're putting on. But just to make it easier, it's easiest just to color the entire, stamp the entire piece, rather than working out which one, you know, remembering to put the correct one on the left side and the correct one on the right side. Just stamp them both up, and it doesn't matter if you're going to cover it up. At least when you go to lay down the one that's on this side, I'll show you what I mean in a moment. It probably is sounding like gobbledygook. I'll show you what I mean. All right, so now we've got our front panels on there, because see how this panel, you only see that amount of it because it's covered by this front panel. But when you open up the card, you see all of this panel here. So you want to make sure that you've got this one completely stamped. Whereas this one, you could get away with just stamping around the edges, but I was worried that I might get my 2 green pieces mixed up and put the wrong one on the wrong side. So I just find it easier to stamp both of them. And then if you cover a bit of this one up, it doesn't really matter. Okay, but you don't want to be missing bits on this one. Ask me how I know. There we go. Okay, so we've got those bits there ready to go. Now we could put our centerpieces in there now because I have them ready, but we will do that at the end. Okay, and let's put that over to the side, and we're going to bring in our coloring tools and do some coloring on all of our pieces. And then we'll do all of our punching at the same time. Okay, so colors that we are using. We have quite a few different colors today. Hang on, I've got glue on my thumb. I'm going to get that off, or I'm going to get that everywhere. All right, so we have got the SU 400. So we've got some of the natural blends today. We've got 600. We've got 900. So 400, 600, 900. Oh, and we've got 300 in there as well. Okay, so these are some of the natural tone blends. Okay, and then we've got the colors. So let me go through those again for you. We have got 300, 400, 600, and 900. Now, the higher the number, the darker the color. And then, sorry, the lower the number, the darker the color. Then you go up to the higher numbers and you get to your lighter colors. Okay, now in the catalog, you will see that they are in, I'll show you where to find them actually. Okay, so in the, and I know that they moved them in this catalog to the last one. So here is where you'll find all of your colors. Okay, so these are all your colors. You've got the, these are on page, this is on pages 122 and 123. And you've got all the different colors in the different color collections, or color families as I like to call them. So you've got all the Stampin' Blends with the codes listed here. Now each color comes in a combo pack, so you get two colors. You'll get a light and a dark. For instance, I've got here the Granny Apple Green in the light and the dark, and I didn't tell you this one as well. I've also got the Lemon Lolly in the light and the dark. That's one of our brand new colors, Lemon Lolly. So you'll find the codes along the bottom. For the natural tone colors, you will find them. Now, where did they move them to? They moved them in this catalog, and I'm just trying to remember where they are. The natural tones, are they with the coloring tools? I think they might be with, yes, they are. Okay, so they're with the coloring tools in on page 136. That's where you find all the natural tones. Okay, now when they're listed here in the catalog, they're listed as deep, medium, medium light, and light. Okay, so they're not, you don't actually see them with the numbers in the catalog. You'll see them as the light, medium, deep, and deep. And you'll see a little color code next to them. So that's how you'll work out which one is which. But if you just remember that the higher the number, the darker the color. So these deep ones here, that would be your 100 and 200. Medium deep would be 300 and 400. Yeah, that's right. So 1 and 200 will be your deep. And then your mediums would be 300, 400. Mediums would be 500, 600. Medium lights would be 700, 800. And then your lights would be 900 and 1000. Okay, so when you see them on the pen, they're in the numbers. In the catalog, they're listed as light to deep. A little bit confusing, I know, but if you just remember, the darker the color, the lower the number, and that will help you to work it out. If ever you forget and that's a bit confusing, feel free to send me a message and I will help you work out which color is which if you're needing those. Okay, all right, so that's a little bit about the blends. Alrighty, so let's see now. I've got my little color chart here with the colors that I used. Okie doke. So let's start with the branches. They're going to be the easiest to do because we're not doing any, we're doing a little bit of light and dark on the leaves, but the branch itself is just a single color. Oh, we're going that way. And the bananas will be easy. Actually, let's start with the bananas. The bananas will be really easy. So the bananas, I did use the light and the dark in the Lemon Lolly, but you couldn't really see a big difference. Like you could get away with just using the dark. And because it's a small image, I'm going to use the bullet tip. So on our Stampin' Blends, if you haven't seen them before, there is a bullet tip, so that's for fine work, and then you've got the brush tip, which is for larger areas that you're coloring, okay, or if you want a softer sort of finish. So we're going to use a bit of the dark lemon lolly just at each end of our banana, and actually I might go over that center line as well. We'll do both of them together. Make sure you cap your Stampin' Blends when you're using them, because they are an alcohol based marker and they will dry out very quickly because that alcohol will evaporate. So the caps go on very, very tightly. You should hear a click when you put that lid on, but be sure that you do put that lid on as soon as you finish. And then with the light, I'm just going over that dark a little bit to just blend that in, and then just finishing off the color. You don't see as much of a variation in the color with the lemon lolly as you do with some of the other deeper colors, because it's a very, very light color. So there we go. So we've got our little bananas colored in. So we'll pop those over to the side to dry, and we'll do our branches. Now for the actual branch itself, we are doing the S300, which is the darker color, and I'm not doing any blending on the branch. You could if you wanted to, but I'm just going to color the branch as is in the single color, because we want that branch nice and deep. So we'll just I'm using my bullet tip because it is a little bit finer. I probably could have used my brush tip for the wider end and then change to my bullet tip, but I'll just keep with the one end. You do get a lovely soft finish with the blends. Without that sort of streakiness, and especially when you use the brush tip is just beautiful to work with. I love working with the brush tip. When you're coloring with these as well, just try not to lay down too much ink close to the edge of the stamped image, like near the stamped lines, because the color does continue to absorb into the cardstock, and it'll sort of, you know, continue to absorb, and if you lay down too much color close to the edges, it has a tendency to bleed out. So just go really lightly when you get near the edge of those lined images that you've stamped. All right, so that's the branch. Now with the leaves, we're going to use the light and the dark granny apple green. Okay, so let's start with the dark. I like to start with the darker color. Also too, another tip when using the Stampin' Blends is only color a small section at a time, because especially if you're blending colors. If you're just doing a single color, that's okay, but if you're wanting to blend colors, just work on a small area at a time, because you want that first layer of ink to still be moist when you lay down the second color, because that way it'll blend a lot more easily. So now I'm using my brush and I'm just going over that dark color and blending that up into the lighter color, so that we don't have any harsh lines, but we've still got that depth of color, that we've got the dark and the light there, and that just shows a little bit of shadowing in your stamped image. And if you just blend that out a little bit, that's why they're called Stampin' Blends, to blend that color. Now I'm dicing with it here, because these leaves are actually quite fine, and I'm using the brush tip. So I'm going very gently with a very light hand, and so that I don't blend that outside of the lines. All right, there we go. So we'll do the next one with the I'll use the bullet tip for both the light and the dark. So just laying down a little bit of dark just there at the base of the leaves where you would see they would typically be a little bit darker. And this time let's use the bullet tip. And just to do the same thing, so I'm just starting with the light color over the darker color and just blending that into that lighter color. If I weren't to blend, if I was to just bring that light color down to that dark color, you'd end up with, I'll show you, I'll hold it up to the camera, see if the camera will pick up on that. See how I haven't actually blended that one yet? See how you've got that harsh line there between the light and the dark? But with these other ones, I've blended the color up, so it's much softer of a, like an ombre sort of effect. So if I now go over the edge of that dark, it'll blend that better into the lighter color. See? Now with your Stampin' Blends, the more color you lay down, the darker it's going to become as well. Okay, so if you know, depending on the depth of color that you want, just be mindful of that as you're laying down your color. And it will bleed through your cardstock. Now this is only normal basic white. I usually do use thick when I'm using my Stampin' Blends because the thick basic white or the thick very vanilla, it has a better absorbency rate. Because it's thicker cardstock, it's got a really beautiful absorbency. But yeah, I just pulled out the basic white for this one today. All right, so we'll do the same with these ones. There we go. All right, blend that color out. This one here along the edge is a little bit tricky. I've got just a little bit of leaf there. So sometimes people like to color towards themselves, some like to color away from themselves, whatever you are comfortable with. Then just, you know, maneuver your cardstock however you are comfortable to color your images. And this sort of project is a great one to do when you're sitting in front of the telly or something like that. You can just sit and, you know, you can have all your stamped images stamped ahead of time, and then you can just sit down in front of the TV and just color. If it's not a program that you're having to watch intensely, of course. There we go. All right, and then we'll just do the little leaves. So I'll do those in, I'm going to go over the center vein of those, and I'll just add a little bit of deep color towards the inside edge. We'll just do a little cluster at a time. I'll use my bullet tip this time because these ones are smaller. And I don't color quite as carefully when I'm filming live because I'm trying to be quicker. So if it happens to go out of the lines a little bit, then please forgive me. I take more care when I'm just crafting away on my own. All right, so we'll do these ones here. Just add a little bit of dark, granny apple green. Come back in with our light, blend that out. All right, who loves their Stampin' Blends? Do you like using your Stampin' Blends to color, or do you prefer Stampin' Write markers? Maybe you prefer Stampin' Write markers. I have both, and I use both for different purposes. I tend to use my Stampin' Write markers more for if I'm doing other coloring techniques or needing like doing direct to marker coloring techniques, which you can't do with the Stampin' Blends because they are alcohol based, but you can with the Stampin' Write markers because the Stampin' Write markers are water based. So there is a difference between the markers. When you're coloring images with the Stampin' Write markers, you can get a bit more of a streaky sort of effect like a traditional marker because they don't blend like the Stampin' Blends, because these ones are alcohol based. So they sort of have a softer finish to them, to the final finished color. But Stampin' Write markers are great for lots of other coloring, techniques, watercoloring, smooshing techniques, all different sorts of techniques. So yeah. All right, so there we've got our beautiful trees colored, ready to go. Ah, you love them, Megan. You love both. Ah, fantastic. That's good. Megan says she couldn't sit and do coloring while she's watching the hockey or the football. Yes, because you've got to watch those intently, don't you? That's right. All right. So, oh, Inika says that she had foster children. Oh, lovely. And you had one who was of Pakistani descent, which is why, oh, you're so glad about the Naturals Stampin' Blends. Yes, because you can do all the different color skin tones. They are great for that. Yeah, yeah. Pity we don't have the matching ink pads. Yes, I agree, Inika. The matching ink pads for these natural tones would be awesome, wouldn't they? Well, that is something as demonstrators we could put in the suggestion box actually. And perhaps Stampin' Up will bring some of those in down the track. Well, we've now got copper clay and pecan pie. So we've got a couple more sort of brownie tones as well. So perhaps those could be good for some of those skin tones too. All right, now let's see. For the little monkeys, we want for the face, I think I'll do the face first because it's the lightest. We want the 900 for the faces. So I'm going to use the brush tip. Oh, and also for the inside of the ears as well. We want to use the 900 for the inside of the ears. So just go very lightly with a very light hand for the ears because they are only a small section and I'm using the brush tip. All right, and then we'll do the face. Now, we've got to be careful of the eyes because the eyes, of course, the whites of the eyes need to stay white. So I'm just going around the eyes. And when I use my brush tip, I do like to use a circular motion to do my colouring. Except around these eyes, I'm just going more carefully because I want to make sure that I keep the whites of the eyes white. And then the rest of the face, I'll use a little circular motion. There we go. So we'll do the same with this one. We'll do the little ears, inside of the ears. And this one's got its eyes closed, so that's much easier. We can just colour the whole thing. Just go over those eyes. Circle, circle, circle. I find with a circular motion you get a much smoother finish. There we go. There's their little faces. Now for their bodies, we are going to do a little bit of blending of colours. We're going to use the 400 and the 600. So the 600 is a little bit lighter and the 400 is the darker. Now, if you're not sure, always good to scribble onto some, now that's not white, so let's go over this side with the white. Okay, so that's my 400 and then this is the 600. So you can see the 600 is quite a bit lighter than the 400. All right, so we're going to start with the darker color and we're going to do a little bit of, I might use the bullet tip actually to do around, we'll do this monkey first. We're going to do a little bit around the face. Now we don't want to go too heavy around the face because we don't want that dark color bleeding down into the lighter color of the face. All right, so I'm just going to go all the way around the face, and then we're going to blend that down with the lighter color. Okay. So we'll do the face first, and then we're going to do the body. All right, so now I want to blend that. Now I'm going to blend that way so that it pushes the color that way. We'll go around the little ears. Whee. This color actually is very similar to the copper clay. Maybe not quite as orangey as the copper clay. Just going very lightly, using the very tip of that brush around those little ears. All right, and just going over that darker section there so that we can blend that dark out, but we don't want it to go into the face area. Go around that ear again. We'll go around this ear again too. There we go. Okay, so we've got that there blending out. Now the thing about blending is when you blend with these markers, the way your brush is sort of facing is the way it's going to push the color, because it's kind of pushing the color. Okay, so probably when I did the chin area, I should have had my marker going that way, so I'm kind of pushing the color away from there. Does that make sense? Same with if you're using the color lifter. Whichever way you are working your brush is the way it's going to push the color. All right, now we want to do a little bit of dark just under the little chinny chin and down on the right side and a little bit at the base of the tail. There we go. And let's use our brush. I'm going to do his little arm first. We'll do his little tail. So just blend that color in. There we go. I'll just come in with this little arm here and we'll do the little leg and then we'll do the body. All right, so we're going to blend in this color. Oh, I missed this leg. Let's come back in here. I'm going to blend in that darker color with the lighter color and keep blending that until you get rid of those harsh lines. There we go. See? Isn't he so cute? Very, very cute. So if you happen to go out of the lines or you want to lighten a color, you can use the color lifter, which looks like this. And what this does is it doesn't actually lift the color, it shifts the color. It moves the color around. I'm not going to use it on my monkeys today, but if you wanted like a little bit more of a lighter tummy or something like that, you could go over the tummy and it will actually push the color. So just be aware of whichever way you hold your brush. If you're working it that way, that's the way it's going to push the color. Okay. So if you're working near the edges, be very careful because it's going to push the color. But if you go outside of the lines, you can use your brush tip to go just on the outside edge of where the color's gone outside of the lines and just work that a little bit there and it will push the color back inside the lines. That's how it kind of works. I did it just a little bit just there where I had a little bit that was just going outside of the lines and it's now pushed that color. You probably can't even see it on camera because it was so very faint, but it has pushed that color now back inside those lines. There you go. That's how that works. All right. So now we're going to do our little, our other little monkey. So we'll do the dark again around the face. And this time too, we want to have a little bit of dark coming down onto the arms because the shadows of the face will be falling down. And so we'll just put a little bit of dark at the tip of the arms there and under the little chinny chin there. We'll do a little bit around the face again too, as we did with the other one. I'm just taking that very carefully. There we go. And we'll blend that out, and then we'll go back in and do the body. Use my little brush tip this time. I'm going to blend the dark there into the arms. It's got little dark shoulders. And blend that down to the tips of the hands. We'll go around the face. In fact, you could probably even get away with just doing the light around the face if you didn't want to fuss with the blending. You could. These would look really cute even in just a single color without the shading. The shading just gives a little bit more definition. Yeah, a little bit more interest. So we're going to blend that into our lighter color just by going over the edges. I don't want to go too heavy. Around the little ears. And probably the bullet tip would be great for this section too because it's quite fine. I might actually change to the bullet tip. And just wherever you see any harsh dark lines, just go over those with your lighter color to just blend that. Blend it down. I like to say blend it down. It's blending it in really. Yep. There we go. Okay, so there's our little, I'm just going to go over those ears again. They look a little bit lighter than the rest of the face. So we'll just go over that. Okay, got a little bit that's a bit dark here under the chin. I'm going to work it this way so it's not going to go up towards the light part. There we go. All right, and now for the body, we'll do a little bit of the dark just around the base of his body here so that it looks like we've got shadow coming down to there. And we're going to do because we had the shadowing sort of on the right side of this monkey, we're going to do some shadowing on the right side of this monkey as well. Okay, so just on that part of the body there, and we're going to blend that down with the, oh, and the base of the tail. I forgot the base of the tail. Let's do a little bit at the base of the tail there too. And then we'll take our light and let's do the tail first. So going back over that dark with the light and just blending that down. Oops, I went out of the lines a little bit there, but that's okay because I actually need to trim that tail anyway when we hang him on the branch. So the hardest part, well, I wouldn't say the hardest part, the most time-consuming part of this project is actually in the colouring, I would say. So going over that dark with the lighter colour, just blending that all in, circular motions with our Stampin' Blends. Keep blending that colour in until you get the desired effect. There we go. Okay, good. So let's go over that those little arms again. Get that blending a bit nicer. There we go. There we go. So there's our cute little monkeys all coloured in beautifully. We've got our trees coloured in, we've got our bananas, and now we are ready to do some punching. So let's just pop all of our markers over there to the side, out of the way. Sorry, our blends. Okay, so this one is staying as is, so we'll pop that one over to the side. We'll punch our little bananas first. Now, I'm not sure if I've left myself enough. Oh, yes. I was wondering if I'd left myself enough cardstock to hang on to punch these. So I did the bananas separately so that I just punched them out individually. Okay, so we'll just punch that first little one. You will get some added bits that will punch out at the same time from the other parts of the punch. So we'll just discard those extra little bits that we don't need. Punch out our second banana.
and all the other little bits come out too. So there we go. We've got our little bananas. We'll get rid of all those extra bits of cardstock that we don't need. All right, and now we're going to punch this little monkey. And I meant to actually punch him before I stamped this one, because I was thinking I'm actually going to get away with it, so it's okay. I've punched him far enough apart, because I was worried that if I punched this one and I'd stamped this one too close, that some of him might be punched out as well. But I can see that he's just outside of the punch area. Okay, so if you're concerned, you can actually cut that piece off before you punch this one. But I can see that I'm not going to punch into him by mistake, so that's all good. Because this is a builder punch, it punches out lots of pieces at once. So you've just got to, just be wary of that when you are punching. So make sure you've got that nice and lined up. There's our little monkey, and got beautiful spacing between those two so that I can still fussy cut that one without, I didn't damage him when I was punching. All right, so let's get rid of all these extra little pieces. I'll grab my paper snips. Where are my sharp ones? No, they are my tape ones. There's my sharp ones. All right, so we're just going to fussy cut this little guy just outside of the lines. We want to leave like a little cloud, I like to say, around the outside edge, just like our other monkey, so that they look the same. Now, of course, when you are fussy cutting live, it's not necessarily going to be as clean a cut and smooth a cut as when you're taking your time. So again, if this one isn't cut out perfectly, then please forgive me. All right, I'm going to trim up that little bit of an ear. I went a little bit wonky on that ear. Oh. All right. Okay, we're going to go around the little leg. Cut that little leg out. There we go. Now, I know that some people don't like fussy cutting, and that's okay. You could change up this project so that you could use 2 of the punched monkeys instead of the hanging monkey. You could certainly change it up. But I love the little hanging monkeys. So cute, hanging from the tree. Now this little bit in the tail is just the trickiest little bit to get into. But did you see in the catalogue that Stampin' Up has brought out some attachments for our Take Your Pick tool, and one of them is a craft knife blade that can attach to the Take Your Pick tool. So, oops, I went a bit wide there. I haven't ordered mine yet, but they are going to be in my next order. So that will be super helpful for stuff like this. Because back in the day, I never used to fussy cut with scissors. Back years ago, when I first started crafting, I used to fussy cut everything with a craft knife. With an X-Acto knife or a craft knife, whatever. I don't know that I had that brand, but but now Stampin' Up has their own, so it's super awesome, and I can't wait to get it so that I can start going back to some of those old, techniques that I used to use using the craft knife. It'll be super cool. And also too, with the those attachments, there's I can't think what it's called. It's like a fine pick attachment, sort of got like a little hook on it, and it's got a point on the other end, like a fine tip point on the other end. And then what's the other one? The other one is a perforating tool. So there's 3 tools that come in the set. So they will be super awesome to use with your Take Your Pick tool. So I look forward to getting those and demonstrating those to you, because definitely the craft knife I don't know if they call it a craft knife or a craft blade, will be super awesome for things like this, especially when you get to those little curly tails. There we go. Oh, I've got to fix this ear too. I went too sharp around this ear as well. There we go. Oops, now I went a bit close. That's okay. That's all right. It's all good. And the little tail, we will be trimming that up when I work out his position on the branch too. So we'll fix that up in a minute. I do have my glasses on, but my eyes are a little bit blurry, I have to say. I get a little bit blurry in my vision when I do fine work like this. You know, you get to those that age and certain things don't work so well, such as vision. There we go. Okay, that'll do. So there we've got our cute little hanging monkey. All right. Okay. So what we can do now is I'm going to layer this piece onto, oh, where did it go? My other piece. Here it is here. All right. So I've got this layer here of pecan pie, and I'm going to layer these two pieces together before I assemble my my scene on there. Okay, so I'll just take a little bit of my Stampin' Seal and I'll add that on there. So do it on all four sides to make sure that it's adhered really well, because, you know, we are adding pieces to this, so we don't want that to be falling off. Again, I will put all of the measurements on my blog. I just didn't want to take up the time today giving all of those out, because it just takes additional time, and I knew that this project would take a little while to put together. All right. Megan says, Megan has her father's modeling knives as he was a plastic modeler. Oh, wow, that's awesome. That's so cool. The shading is more natural. Yes, Inika, it is. Yeah, it does give more of a realistic effect, doesn't it? Yeah. And oh, the cats want to go outside. It's not light yet. Oh my goodness, it's 4:20 a.m. where you are, Inika. My goodness, you are an early bird. Or are you a late night owl? Maybe you haven't gone to bed yet. It's very, very early where you are. Inika says because of her rheumatism, fussy cutting is no fun. Oh, yes. And you prefer dies, but that wouldn't stop you from purchasing the punch bundle. Yeah, well, definitely. You could change it up and have two of the punched monkeys instead of the hanging monkey if you wanted to fussy cut them. You could certainly do that too. Yeah, I mean, you could probably stamp him on there and it would still look okay, rather than having him. I'm just going to pop him up onto some dimensionals though. So I wanted to add that little bit of dimension, which is why I fussy cut him instead. All right. So now what we'll do is I will assemble all of this and then we'll add that to our card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want them to look like they are they're actually touching the branches. So I'm going to adhere their feet to the branches with glue, but I'm going to put dimensionals behind the head and the top part of the body so that they kind of have a little bit of dimension, okay? So that, yeah, they look like they are actually standing on the branch. All right, speaking of, take your pick tool. Here is our take your pick tool. I'm going to use my, I like to call it the pokey pokey tool. It's the paper piercing tool to pick up my dimensionals. And I'm going to put one, actually I might put two behind the head there. And let me just see. Yeah, I'm just going to put two behind the head and then I'm going to glue the feet on there, and then that will hold him in place. All right, so we'll do that one first and I'll show you how to do that, because we've got to do a little bit of surgery with this other little one. All right, so I'll take the backings off there from, they look like two great big giant eyes, don't they? I'm going to take the backings off from those. I'm going to add a little bit of glue here to the feet. And let's add a little bit there to the tummy as well, just to make sure that that stays on really well. And we're going to stand him on this branch here. Okay, so he's going to go about there. Make sure that that tail is within the stamped, within the edge of the card there. All right, so the little feet are adhered down and the body there as well. And then we've got the head up on the dimensionals. So don't know if you can tell too much on camera, but it does give more of the illusion of him actually standing on the branch. Rather than if I mounted up the whole thing, it would look like he was hovering above the branch. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, now with the tail, I'm going to put a little pencil mark. I'm going to line him up. I want him to look like the tail is hooked on, I'll show you on the original. I want him to look like the tail is hooked over that branch, okay? Now in order to do that, I need to cut off a little bit of that tail. So I'm going to put a pencil mark. I'll line him up how I want him hanging, he or she. So I want it sort of going out at a bit of an angle like that. And then I'm going to put a mark where the branch is so that I can see where to cut that tail, okay? And then I'm simply going to take my snips. They're not the ones. They're my, I put these back. They were my paper, the other ones I picked up were my adhesive scissors. I use them for cutting my adhesive. All right, so I'm cutting this at a slight angle there. I'm just going to chop off that little curly bit of the tail so that when I put this down, I can make it look like it's hooked on over the branch there like that. Okay? All right, so this time we're going to put the Stampin' Dimensionals again behind the face here, making sure they're not overhanging the edges of the image. And then we're going to put the glue on the tail and the leg that's going to be on the right side, and just a little bit of the base of the body there. I'm not going to put any glue on the other leg because that one can sit up a little bit. That's okay. All right, we'll take the backings off there and we're going to position this little monkey in place. I'm holding this part up that's got the dimensionals first until I get that tail lined up with where I want it to be. We want that to look like it's just hooking over the edge of that branch there like so. Oh, we want that going out a little bit more of an angle. Okay, hooking over that branch, and then we can adhere that other leg down. There we go. And we've got the body up on, or the head up on dimensionals. There we go. All right, so now for the little bananas, we're going to pop the bananas up on dimensionals as well. So we'll turn those over. We're going to use minis for the dimensionals, for the bananas, because they are much smaller. So we'll just take one little mini, and am I going to fit one in? Yep, just. If you adhere the dimensional just at the widest part of the banana, it'll just fit on there and stay within the edge, of the stamped image. There we go. It'll just fit, and that's all we need. We only need one dimensional on there. All right, so this little guy up here, he's holding his banana upside down. I'm just going to slip that underneath the little hand there and have that sitting there like that, and then take the backing off this one, and he's going to be holding his banana up this way. This way. This is the way I had it. Up the right way, this one. This way like that. Actually, no, it's upside down too. It's holding its banana upside down as well. There we go. Alrighty. Now with our sentiment label, so there's our cute little scene. We're going to add some bling. We need to add our sentiment label. So we're going to use the double oval punch, and we're just using the plain oval for that one. So just slip that in there and line that up. And let me make sure I've got that lined up straight across the punch. A little tip with this one, you have a straight line across the center of that punch. Can you see that line there? You can line up your sentiment with that to help you line it up, because when you're punching an oval, it is a little bit hard to work out if your sentiment is straight, because you get those angles sort of happening with the oval, so it can be a little bit tricky. But yeah, if you use that line, that is there to help you to line that up. So just an extra little tip there for you. Okay, and then our little sentiment label is going to be popped up there. We're going to have that just hanging off the edge. Now, to make sure that we have that, we don't put the adhesive there going over the edge, we're going to flip that over upside down so we can see exactly where we want that. Actually, I'll move it in a little bit more. There we go. And then that will show me where to pop the adhesives so that they are not hanging off over the edge. Okay, so that's where I'm going to put my dimensionals, just there and there. We'll remove the paper backings, flip that back over, and that's just going to go there like that. There we go. Now we need to add our little bow and we need to add our bling, but we're going to attach this to the card first. All right. Now, to attach it to the card, what we're going to do is we are only attaching it to the left-hand side. All right, so we've got our cute little panel. We still need to bling it up, but we're going to attach it to the left-hand side, and we want to attach it so that it's going to be centered. Okay, so the best way to do this is to line it up centered where you want to have it, and do the same thing as what we did before, is we're going to flip it over upside down. So you want to flip it upside down that way. Don't flip it that way because you'll be putting the glue on the wrong side then, okay? So you want to have it, line it up this way, flip it over upside down that way, okay? And then you're going to line this up in the center. See where that center line is there? You want to keep the glue away from there. So we're only putting glue on the left side. Okay, if you want to double check, flip it back over, make sure you've got it on the correct side. Okay, line it up, and you want to make sure that you put the glue only within that panel there, and don't go too close to that center line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line with my glue down here like so that I know I've got to stay within that section there. I can come over closer to this side here. Okay. Then when you flip that back over, whoops. Oh, I dropped it a little bit, got a little bit of glue there. So we'll pop that down, line that up. Oh, got to go over this way a little bit. Let's just slide that a little bit over. Come on, there we go. Slide that over a little bit to the right. So we've got that lined up in the middle and up a little bit. There we go. Now we've got it. All right, and then we want to adhere that, because you don't want any glue oozing out here, because then what will happen is it'll stick that side down to that side and you won't be able to open your card. Okay, so you have to make sure that the glue is inside this edge. Just give that a good press on there, and there we have it. And I've got gluey fingers again. All right, So we will bling up the front, and then we're going to add our pieces on the inside. So we're going to take some of that beautiful ribbon from the Ribbon Duo combo pack. We're going to use some of the Lemon Lime Twist ribbon. I like to, when I'm tying bows, I like to tie the bow directly from the spool so that I'm not wasting too much ribbon. I don't want to cut a whole length of ribbon and then realize I've, you know, cut it too long, or, you know, and then wasted a whole heap. So we just cut it, tie it straight from the spool. We only need a small little ribbon. This ribbon ties beautiful bows. Because it's got the stitching in it, it grabs that, that stitching, and it holds that bow really beautifully. So let's see the size that we want. Might want it just a tad smaller. There we go. All right, we'll trim those ends. I want them a little bit shorter. I often fuss quite a bit with my ribbons to get them to the right length, and the tail's the right length, and I think I've still not got that quite right. This one's a little bit longer, so we'll trim this one a little bit more. Oops. Should trim it straight, that would be helpful. There we go. And then we're just going to pop our little bow on there with a glue dot. Now it is going to go over the sentiment a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull those loops in just a little bit more. Yeah, that'll be better. And then I'll trim the ends up a bit more. All right, and then we're going to pop that on with a glue dot. Let's just get rid of all these little scrappy bits. They're going into the bin. We use a glue dot, mini glue dot. This is an old packet of mini glue dots that I found in my stash just recently. So I thought, well, I'm going to use those ones up, because now the packaging is black and white, of course, in keeping with all of the other packaging. Oops, but the green was the old packaging. All right, so I've just folded a little glue dot in half, because this is very fine ribbon, and I've just popped that on the back there of my bow, and I'm going to pop that here under the word monkey. It's going to go right on the bottom there of my sentiment label, right on that bottom edge. Now it might cover the words just a little bit, but people will know that it says monkey, and they can move it if they want to read it properly, but they will know that that says monkey. All right, so that's there. We'll pop our bling on, and then we've got to do our inserts, which I've got here already done. We just need to adhere them into the card, because I thought I'd do that ahead of time to make it quicker. All right, beautiful new packet of rhinestones. The rhinestone basic jewels are fantastic. They go with everything, and you can color these with your Stampin' Blends too, by the way. I think I've got an old packet here, and you'll see that I've colored these ones here on this old packet with some Stampin' Blends. Didn't end up using them. But yeah, I've got some beautiful colored ones there. And because the Stampin' Blends are alcohol based markers, the color will actually adhere to non-porous surfaces, and it will dry on them. So you can color these any color you like. But in this case, I'm actually using just the silver. So I'm going to pop 2 of the medium-sized ones up here. Oops, a bit of fluff on there. 2 mediums up there, and I'm going to grab one of the tiny ones and pop that just down here. And it's always a great idea to have 3 embellishments on your project, 3 or 5 or 7. The uneven numbers is aesthetically more pleasing and more balanced artistically, apparently. So yeah, so that's why we do that. All right, now with the inserts, what I did is I basically did the same stamping as what I did on these panels here, and I just went around the edges of this one because we're going to cover up the center part, okay? And then these two layers are exactly the same as these two layers. And with this one, I just stamped the little hanging monkey coming in from the edge, and I colored that ahead of time just to save some time. We're going to layer these up together, and we're going to pop them on the inside of the card. All right, so let's...
Now I will go back and have a look at the comments before I finish here. It's hard to keep up with them while I'm crafting.
So I do like to go back and check them in case I've missed anything.
All right, so we're just going to layer this inside of, or on top of, I should say, on top of the pecan pie. I'm loving the new pecan pie color. It's beautiful.
Now we've got those layered up, I'm just going to use my glue, which is quicker. You can use your Stampin' Seal, but this is just quicker. And I should have capped it before because the tip is dried up a bit because I didn't have my cap on. Naughty, naughty. Should always put your cap on your glue. All right, so we'll line that up in the center there. There we go, and then this is going to go on the inside here. Let me just double check. I should have double checked before I did it, but yeah, it is the right size. Just double checking that I did do that the right size before I put glue on it and then try to stick it. Lots and lots of glue. We don't want that insert to fall out. It's going into that center panel with the little cute hanging monkey coming down from the top there. Line that all up. Oops, need to slide that over a little bit. Slide over, slide. There we go. Give that a good push. And there we go. There we have our cute little monkey card. Isn't that just adorable? So cute. So you can leave, oh, I've got a little bit of glue on there. That's okay because I have a glue eraser. I can just take that little bit of glue off there. That's come off my fingers. There we go. And I will cap my glue before I say anything else. All right. I forget what I was about to say. I was about to say something, but yeah, anyway, there we go. There's our little card. There's my original. So yeah, got them pretty well the same, pretty similar. So there you go. So all right, let me tip the camera back up face to face so that I can say goodbye to you. And also before I say goodbye, I want to catch up with all of those comments. So here we go. So I'll cover up, I'll flip the camera again. I'll readjust that. So bear with me one moment and then I'll go back through those comments. Okay, flippity flip. Adjusting my stand. Adjusting my lights and, whoops, camera is still crooked. There we go. And we are back. There we go. So that was a quicker transition today, going back to camera. Let's just move that over a little bit. I feel like there's a bit that's unclear on the camera. I've probably put my fingers on it or something. Let me just wipe that for one moment. Hang on a sec. Hang on one moment. Sorry, I think we dropped out then for a moment. Am I back? I think I'm back. I don't know what my computer is doing over here. It's doing something weird. Okay, I think we're back. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Something dropped out for a moment. I was going back and reading messages. Oh, Inika said, doesn't the Versamark take longer to dry as opposed to the other inks? Yes, it does. And the reason that is because it's a pigment-based ink. And it's great for embossing. So it's great for using with your embossing powders, which is why it takes longer to dry, because it stays,
you need that moisture for the ink, for the embossing powder to stick to, and it's quite a sticky ink, the Versamark as well. So yes, it can take longer to dry than our water-based inks. So if you need it to dry quickly, you can just hit it with a heat tool, just on the low setting, on the number 1 setting on the Stampin' Up, if you're using the Stampin' Up heat tool. Yeah, otherwise you can just set aside your pieces to dry. So yeah, that was a great question though. Thank you for that one, Enika. Megan was talking about her, is that your nephew? That he's being, okay, so he's having some assessments. Okay, that's good. That's good that his parents are onto that, and that he's having those assessments so that he can get the support that he needs. So that's really great. Oh, Brenton was opening his Stampin' Up delivery while I was crafting. That's exciting. What did you get, Brenton? Let us know, or maybe he already let us know in the comments. And I missed it, so let me go down a little bit further. Okay, so yes, the wait time for specialist, Megan, is always really long. Yes. I used to work in a preschool, and 50% of our children had additional needs. So we worked a lot with children with having assessments, and because often it was picked up at preschool, and then, you know, the families would take the children for assessments, and we'd, you know, give recommendations, etc., etc. Yes, there's always a long wait, unfortunately, for all of these things, and even to get them into therapies and things like that, it's a big waiting game. There's a lot of demand out there these days. Yeah. Okay, so Enika was saying the single centimeter I have left, I put in my paper bin. Oh, this is when you're trimming your cardstock? Okay, yes. Colored cardstock I save to use on white card diagonally or however. Yeah, that's a great idea. If you're cutting those extra little pieces off when you're trimming down your cardstock, especially with those colors. And you might notice over on my trolley here, I have this little bin hanging on the side there. That is actually full of scraps of white cardstock. It's just little strips of white cardstock that I've trimmed off different projects that I keep for using for small stamped images or for my sentiments. They come in really handy. So it is great to keep all of those little scraps. Oh, Rose is here. Hi, Rose. I didn't see you jumping on. So sorry. Had my head down busy crafting. So lovely to have you with us. All right. So lots and lots of chatting was going on. That's so awesome. That's really great to see. Oh, Megan says she hasn't even had a chance to look at the new catalog yet because she's been so busy with her commitments to her Seattle football club. So, oh, that's awesome. Yes, you'll definitely have to get into there and have a good look, Megan. You will just, oh, you will love the products in there. There's so many beautiful things. Enika asked, how does using tone-on-tone stamping differ from using Versamark? That's a really great question, Enika. Thank you for asking that question. If you're doing tone-on-tone stamping, for instance, if I used Granny Apple Green ink on the Granny Apple Green cardstock to stamp those leaves, you would get a much deeper stamped image. It will be much darker. Whereas with the Versamark, it gives you that watermark effect. That's why it's a watermark stamp ink pad. So yeah, you do get like a lighter effect with the Versamark as opposed to doing tone on tone. But it's a great idea to have a little play with that as well, just on some scrap cardstock, grab out a stamp, maybe an outline stamp like this one, like the leaf. And yeah, just practice on the two different with the two different ink pads and see the difference there. That's a really great question. Thank you for that one. Oh, Enika said she was over the moon when Stampin' Up released the Naturals tones in the Stampin' Blends. Yes. so many more different brown tones, skin tones. You can blend them together to create additional tones. They're fantastic. They're so much fun to play with. Yes, exactly, Inika. Inika said, this is one of the reasons I was so happy. The majority of people on this planet are not white. My husband always says we're all a shade of brown. I agree. I agree. I don't have much tone in my skin apart from red and pink. Yeah, I'm very fair, as are my children. Or one of my daughters in particular, she's a little bit darker. She's got a little bit more olive in her skin. But my other two, I've got a redhead, so he is particularly fair. And my daughter, who works as my assistant, she's also very, very fair as well, fairer than what I am. And we all have lots of freckles too because of our fair skin. Yeah, yeah. Yes, lots of demonstrators were asking for the different skin tones. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, love Granny Apple Green, Megan. Fantastic. Seahawks Green. Yes, yes. It's funny now when we see green and blue, Amber and I are always saying, oh, Megan will like this color because it's like Seahawks. Like I think it was the Azure Afternoon? Was it that one? Is that like a Seahawks blue, Megan? That goes really well with the granny apple green and the lemon lime twist. Oh, that's probably lemon lime twist. I think that's a bit more too yellowy, isn't it, for you, for the Seahawks green? Oh, that's so cool. Oh, so many great comments. Oh, Renee was here too. Hi, Renee. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry I didn't see you jumping on as well. Renee said she uses her blends more. Unfortunately, her 5-year-old granddaughter loves all of her crafting things. I think that's great. I think that's not an unfortunate thing. She likes to color with your markers and the blends. She does put them back when she is done. Oh, well, that's good. She's well trained. Very good. I started my children crafting very young. And they carried that through. My son, not so much. He crafted when he was very young, from a very young age. He was 3 actually when I started. So I started him when he was 3. So my girls would have been, oh, they were doing craft even before that. They had their own little stamps and things before I started. But yeah, he didn't keep up with it, of course, as he got older, but he was doing card making and scrapbooking, and I've still got all his little scrapbooks that he created and his little layout. He did a good job, actually. Yeah, shame he didn't keep up with it, but you know, one day down the track, he might have a wife that scrapbooks that, yeah, so that would be lovely. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Oh, lots of great chatting. Yeah, I touched on that one before. Oh, Vicky's here as well, watching from Arizona. Hi, Vicky. Great to have you with us. Thank you for watching. So we have had a few jump on while I had my head down coloring in and crafting. I'm sorry I didn't see you all jumping on. Okay, so we are, I think I'm nearly at the end. Enika said, as the stamps are photopolymer, stamping is easy. Yes, I put just on one dimensional. Oh, okay, yep. I like to add lots of dimensionals because I don't like to have any saggy bits or have the risk of them falling off or anything. So I do like to use lots of dimensionals, I have to say. Yeah. Oh, Megan was saying that her father used to do modeling, plastic modeling, and he used to do ships and planes mainly. Wow. Oh, he was a huge military buff and collected kits right from the time he was a child. Used to build model trains when he got older. Oh, that's so fantastic. So you've got creativity in your blood then, Megan. It does tend to follow through the lineage. I know all of my family, my siblings and my mum, very, very creative. So yeah, it sort of it gets passed on. I've passed it on to my children too. So yeah. um, all right, let me just scroll down a little bit further. Oh, Inika said she always used Sahara sand for soft colored images instead of memento. Yes, I did as well. I loved Sahara sand. It was very sad that it did retire. It was one of my most used colors. You can get a lighter ink with crumb cake, but you need to stamp it off. So you need to stamp it once onto scrap paper and maybe even twice, and then stamp it, you know, second or third generation onto your project for that lighter color. Yeah, but you didn't have to do that with Sahara sand. You could just stamp it straight, and it was beautiful. Yes, pecan pie is beautiful. You miss soft suede and Sahara sand, me too. Yeah, they were two of my favorites as well. Yeah. I am really falling in love with the pecan pie though. It's really, really lovely color. So I think it's going to be my new, um, oh, soft suede. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, my new soft suede. um, oh, okay. So Megan said she can't use glue dots. She's severely allergic. Okay. So can you use, what else could I use to adhere the front panel? Oh, the green glue you can't use. Yeah. So to adhere the front panel, you can use tear and tape. This is a great adhesive, very, very strong. Just be sure of where you're sticking things if you're using the tear and tape, because it is so strong, it is hard to remove it. We do though, however, have our spatula tool on our take your pick tool. So if you're very careful, you can get that between your layers and wiggle it to release that. But yeah, just be very careful that don't push this on too hard until you're sure that you've got everything lined up where you want them. Also too, with your ribbon, you can take a little bit of tear and tape and roll that up into a little ball as well and put that behind your ribbon if you can't use the mini glue dots. But yeah, tear and tape is a fantastic adhesive. And in fact, tear and tape was the adhesive I used to use all the time for everything. It was the only one I used, and my Stampin' Dimensionals. And then I changed over and I started to use the Stampin' Seal more because it's a lot quicker when I'm filming. And the glue is a lot quicker when I'm filming as well. But if I'm crafting at home, I often just use, I mean, I'm always crafting at home, but if I'm crafting on my own, I often go back to my tear and tape. So, and I cut my tape. I know that this does tear and it tears really easily, but I cut my tape. I've always been a tape cutter. So there you go. I like those nice clean edges. So there you go. So hopefully those tips helped Megan. Yeah. Yes, you've converted us both with the colors. Yes, we keep, yeah, anytime we see those blues and greens, we're like, oh, they're Megan's colors. It's a deeper blue. Oh, okay, so it's a deeper blue. All right, so it's deeper blue than the azure afternoon. Okay. Oh, Brenton said, yeah, he was so sad to see Sahara sand go as well. I know, it was such a beautiful color, wasn't it? Well, you know, if we, as demonstrators, if we keep putting it in the suggestion box, in the demonstrator suggestion box, it might come back down the track. You never know. So let's just all bombard the suggestion box with Sahara sand, we want Sahara sand back. And hopefully they'll maybe bring it back one day, maybe in another future color refresh, who knows? Megan's loving the green glue. Yes, but you would get a migraine from inhaling it. Oh, okay. It's not too bad. It's not as strong as some other glues. Like, you know, if you get a tacky craft glue, like I've actually got tacky craft glue up on that top shelf up there, which you can't see because it's in the tub, but you can see that that's where I store it. It has a very, very strong smell, and yes, you have to be in a well ventilated area to use that. I find with the multi-purpose liquid glue though, it's not too strong, so it's not like it, yeah, some of the other glues, they have a very, very strong smell, but I find this one's not too bad because I am very, very sensitive to fragrances and smells as well with my allergies. And I do suffer with migraines too. So I totally understand, but it depends on the level of your sensitivity as well. So yeah, and I find that too, it's sometimes I'm more sensitive than other times too. It might just be where, you know, my senses are a little bit heightened at that time, or my allergies are struggling or something. So yeah. All right. So there we go. Um, oh, your migraines are particularly sensitive. Yeah, then you need to be careful. Stick with the tear and tape, Megan. It's a fantastic adhesive, and it's, as I said, it's so strong. Great for 3D projects as well, and for your scrapbooking. And yeah, and definitely get those punches and those dies out and use them in your scrapbooking, Megan. Yes, and everyone else as well, because you can do so much with them. Yeah, they're beautiful. So anyway, there we go. So there is our cute little monkey card today. I hope you enjoyed that one. And I hope that you will have a go at doing those gatefold cards. They're super, super simple. So yeah, you just need those measurements which I gave you, and I will put in on my blog tomorrow. So all of the other measurements for this project will be on my blog tomorrow, sometime before the end of the day. I won't commit to an actual time because I've got a busy day tomorrow. I'm going back to hydro tomorrow. So haven't been to hydrotherapy for a couple of weeks. Well, a few weeks actually. I had to stay well in order to go and visit my mother-in-law up north. So I didn't want to come into contact with any bugs. But I went to visit my husband, and I went to visit her the weekend just gone. And so now I can go back to hydro and not be as concerned. I'm still always very careful, but you just never know. I have picked up a cold from there before at the pool. So yeah. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Well, we've only got not many days, and then we're on the weekend. Today is Thursday. I didn't actually give the date. It's Thursday, the 25th of May today. I hope that you have enjoyed my project today and enjoyed all the little tips and tricks along the way. And oh, thank you, Megan. Yes, I will. It'll be good to get back to hydro. My back really needs it at the moment. So yeah, it'll be really good to get back. And I've got a dodgy foot at the moment too. I've got to get that sorted out. So hydro will be great. Oh, you're going to go and get them now, Megan? Fantastic. That's great. All right. Well, have a great weekend. I will be back live over on my Facebook page on Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I hope that you can join me. And I'll be back here on YouTube again next Thursday morning at 11 a.m. So I hope to see you around. I hope you get some crafting done. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you all again really soon. Happy crafting, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye.